Well, guys, I don't think there's any avoiding it anymore. Quite a long time ago, I made a couple videos about the Timepiece Gentleman TPG drama that was unfolding. And it's been a long time since I talked about it because I honestly just sort of fell out of interest with the situation. They made some bad mistakes, some bad business calls, and it kind of all went downhill from there. But in the last week, Anthony Fair, Mr. TPG himself, has broken the internet, the gray market, once again, with a whole other series of drama and information that has unfolded. Now, a lot of the clips, the past videos are now lost to time, so I don't really have a cringy moment compilation in terms of video clips, but I can give you a timeline of what is going on because I have got a little bit of a sequence of events put together to recap what's going on and how we got to this point where TPG is admitting they are $5 million in debt and they are essentially SOL. TPG, Timepiece Gentleman, for anybody who isn't fully up to speed, started in Dallas, Texas. They were watch flippers, kind of the first big ones on the YouTube space. COVID definitely helped blow them up, I think. Definitely helped give them a bit more of a presence. It was originally run by Anthony and his business partner, Marco. Things were going pretty well. They even managed to convince an investor to give them money to buy a Lamborghini to flex, which was kind of their big thing, was flexing on the YouTube and on social media for followers, for likes. And again, it did definitely help their business for a time. There is no denying that. But it all kind of went awry in 2021 when they did this media blackout. They shut everything down, disappeared off the internet. Everybody thought they were making a run for it with all the cash. It turns out it was just allegedly a horrible PR stunt to show that the internet doesn't really mean anything and it's not real, blah, blah, blah. After that point, it kind of all went downhill. Marco and Anthony parted ways. Marco rebranded and took over the Dallas business as Grand Caliber. Anthony and a couple of his employees, namely Liz and Darby, headed out to LA to do the LA takeover. And they blew a ton of money on this massive, super expensive, I think the most expensive penthouse rental in LA at the time. Lost a ton of money, were there for like 6 weeks or whatever, and then ended up moving into another office. A whole bunch of stuff about Anthony's past, allegedly as a male masseuse, came out. People started to exit from Anthony's side. Things did not look good. Fast forward a little bit, and you've got a bunch of stuff about Anthony's DUIs coming out. He gets another DUI. The vehicles, the flex cars are all for sale. Next thing you know, Liz and Darby leave Anthony, start their own business, Rebelux LA. And now finally this week, I think after all the drama, all the exits, all the people running, all the chatter on Reddit and social media, Anthony finally opened up and admitted, yes, he's $5 million in debt. He's been selling consignee watches, keeping the cash or blowing the cash, essentially a Ponzi scheme. Pretty brutal stuff. I mean, I am a proponent of the gray market. I bought a watch on the gray market as recently as last week. So I do love that this is a thing that exists, that gives people like me access to watches that we normally would not be able to get because retail sucks for the watch industry, at least if you're buying the big brands. But obviously, the same thing happened with the media blackout when people thought TPG, one of the biggest online presences of gray market retailers, was fleeing the internet. People thought the same thing this week. TPG has essentially moved $5 million of inventory around. People who have consigned their watches have not been repaid. Essentially, these are all stolen goods. This is going to completely disrupt the people who bought those watches from Anthony, from TPG, thinking they were legit, thinking they were good, probably paid fair market value for them. It's going to be a whole problem. It's going to be a whole thing. It is a major issue. Definitely the trust of the gray market vendors is once again going to come under question, under fire. It's a major disruption. It's a really crappy thing. Naturally, a lot of people are going to say the writing was being on the wall since day one. I didn't really see it that way. I thought, you know what, in COVID, especially when watch prices, watch market stuff was going berserk, I figured, you know what, they are probably making enough money to get by. And then they had a huge influx of cash from an investor, which allowed them to continue the flexing. But there is a point where the market course corrects. We felt it in the housing market. The watch market basically followed suit, and the music had to stop at some point. And unfortunately, I don't think Anthony stopped. He just kind of kept the show going. He kept the facade up, and it completely imploded on him. Essentially, this week he said, yeah, $5 million in debt, and he is going to pay it back. He's not going to run. I don't know how he intends to do this, because I don't think he'll ever sell another watch again. He's definitely burned in the gray market. I don't think anybody's going to trust him ever again. And $5 million is a ton of money to pay off in, traditional means. You go and get a $100,000, $200,000 a year job, you're gonna be paying that off for 20 years. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know how he's possibly gonna come up with this money in any reasonable amount of time, how he's gonna decide who to pay back first. So basically, that's the TPG drama in a nutshell. I would honestly not be surprised if Anthony ends up in some serious legal trouble, serious jail time for this. It only takes a couple of people who have consigned a watch with him and had it stolen to say enough is enough, I'm not waiting anymore, and start some sort of action against him. In the meantime, Anthony has promised to give us daily updates on how he's going to work to pay these people back. So I guess we'll keep watching along and see how this dog and pony show goes. I am not really optimistic that this money is going to be returned to any of these people, investors, clients, in any reasonable amount of time, if at all. Completely wild situation, and I can't believe we're here. You guys have been asking for a part 2 cringy, crazy moments, and so I guess this is your part 2. Let's keep watching and see what happens, guys. Thanks for tuning in.